everybody. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr. and welcome once again to another classic movie review. This is my review of another black and white boxing film. This one came out in 1947. Stars John Garfield, who was a great actor who could be a character actor in movies like Gentleman's Agreement that came out the same year in 47. Stars Gregory Peck. And that's one of my favorite films. If you haven't seen that one, you should check out the review. It's on this channel. It's a great movie. But this is my review of Body and Soul. And last time I did a 40s movie, it was also a boxing movie. So I guess I'm kind of on a 40s boxing film kick right now. This was directed by Robert Rossen, who directed many great classic movies. Movies like The Roaring Twenties, All the King's Men, Alexander the Great, and one of my favorite movies of all time, The Hustler, starring the great Paul Newman. I also have a review of that movie on this channel if you want to check that out. Another great movie. But Body and Soul is definitely the kind of movie that if you're a boxing fan and you want to see all the best boxing movies that have ever been made, you usually got to tend to keep going back further throughout the decades to find those real classic golden moment ones, because Body and Soul is definitely one of those movies that was a heavy influence on movies like Rocky and Raging Bull, and much like the movie Champion that I reviewed when I talked about my last 40s film. This movie does have kind of a noirish quality at times because a lot of shady characters and just the nature of the story has a lot of grit to it due to the setting. In the supporting cast, we have Lilli Palmer in the role of Peg. She is the love interest to Charlie Davis, the main character in the film, played by John Garfield, who plays a lot of hard to get with him throughout the first act of the movie. And you can see that she has like a genuine interest in him and does find this kind of innocence about him, because he does seem a little bit naive yet kind of genuine, and he really is flawed also, but still does have a big heart, and she kind of recognizes that. Actress Anne Revere is in the role of Annie Davis in this film, and she was also in Gentleman's Agreement in 1947, the same year this came out. And it's funny because John Garfield, who plays her son in this, was also in Gentleman's Agreement. She does a very good job in the part too. Her performance is very, very strong, and she has like this down-to-earth, homey quality, and she does kind of feel like a real mother at times, especially in the scenes that she has with John Garfield. They do have this real natural mother-son feel to their relationship in the movie, and it just goes to show you what great actors these people were. And also in the film, I gotta mention the Gold Digger. Hazel Brooks plays Alice in the movie, and she's kind of this woman that comes into the picture as Charlie gets, to be a more prominent fighter and more successful. She's all of a sudden starts to, kind of hang out at wherever he's training, just because she's, waiting to catch that fish, kind of reel him in. Also in the film, rounding out the supporting cast, are African American actor Canada Lee in the role of Ben Chaplin. In the role of Shorty, you have Joseph Pevney. Shorty is sort of the best friend to the main character in the film. And then you have sort of this gangster type who is basically like the promoter, who is a very shady character. In the film, he's played by actor Lloyd Gough. William Conrad plays the part of Quinn. He is the trainer who is kind of reluctant at first to take the main character on when he's not too impressed with him at first. But there's a great scene where Shorty kind of initiates a fight between a guy that's kind of a higher ranking boxer, and they're at this place where everybody's kind of getting a drink and just kind of chilling, hanging out. And the guy Quinn is there, and Shorty knows that his best friend has a temper, and so he kind of starts this little altercation, which ends in this higher ranking boxer getting knocked out by Charlie. And so when Quinn sees how good Charlie is, right then and there, I think his worries are put to rest, and he decides to take Charlie on. There's a nice romance in this film between the characters of Charlie and Peggy. He meets her pretty early in the movie, and we see that he's very interested in her, and she's interested in him, but you can see that she's a little bit worried. She's kind of feeling him out to see what kind of a guy he is, whether he's a moral guy or not. But the more time that she does spend with him, the more that she does see he is a good guy. He's just a little bit flawed. He's a little ignorant, but she kind of sees a little bit of sweetness in him too. And so they have a nice chemistry throughout the film. For 1947, I gotta say, there is some nice choreography for the boxing scenes in this movie. The first couple of scenes that I saw, honestly, didn't really impress me. They seemed a little bit old timey at first, and I didn't buy them. But the last couple of fights in the movie, it really got very realistic. It almost looked like they were actually really making contact. And I gotta admit, I was quite impressed by what I saw. And this is the kind of thing that I recommend for anybody that's into boxing movies, because whether a movie is new or old, it's all about the execution. This is one of those movies where when it begins, we meet our main character closer to the end of his story, and then it kind of circles back around in flashback mode, very much in the vein of Orson Welles' Citizen Kane, or Billy Wilder's Double Indemnity, or Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. And we do see at the beginning of the film our main character as a champion boxer, but then when he goes into flashback mode, we get to see him as an amateur boxer, sort of slowly rise up the ranks. We get some nice montages, very much the kind of training montages that would later go on to be popular in many sports films, and of course, done in the Rocky movies, almost perfected by Stallone in the '80s with Rocky 3 and Rocky 4, some of the best boxing training montages. But yeah, in this movie, you get to see a lot more of the dirty side of boxing. Actor John Garfield did a great job in the lead role of Charlie Davis in this film. He is in very good shape in this movie, and so when he's in the boxing scenes, he has a very believable physicality whenever he's moving around. He moves his hands super fast, and so whenever he's punching somebody in the face or to the body, there's a real speed that is there that is pretty damn impressive, and you see that this actor probably did some real training for the film. So, it's very commendable all the hard work that this actor put into this role. Not to mention a lot of the humor that went into the character to make him very likable and endearing throughout. And another very notable performance is the performance of Canada Lee in the role of Ben Chaplin. He is somebody who is an opponent in the ring to the main character in the movie. And their fight in the film, the choreography in the film looks so real. I'm almost convinced that it was full on contact. And this is kind of impressive considering this is a 1947 film. This movie being an old 1940s black and white Hollywood movie, I gotta say, I was very surprised and glad to see actor Canada Lee in here, because it's good to see some African American representation in a film that's depicting boxing. And we all know that even as back as the 40s, there were African American boxers. So by having an African American actor in this film, it only adds more realism to the movie. The last thing I want to mention is the character Roberts, the fight promoter, played by actor Lloyd Go. It is a very good performance because he makes you hate this character. This is a character that's kind of scheming and manipulating and kind of shady. And Charlie's best friend, Shorty, sees right through this guy and all his BS. And there's a great scene where he calls him out on it. And the character of Roberts is a very kind of smooth talking, very smart guy that's very good at getting his way. And so he's kind of the villain of the movie. And as you watch the film, you kind of root for the character of Charlie to sort of kind of wake up and just realize who this guy is and that he doesn't need him at all. But the guy does help Charlie kind of advance through the ranks, and up to a certain point, up until Charlie is faced with the dilemma of throwing a fight. As the movie gets closer to its final scenes, the story comes out of flashback mode in the place where the flashback started, in the dressing room, when Charlie went into the dressing room to get ready for the fight that's going to happen at the very end of the film. And so, yeah, the whole time that he's been in this dressing room waiting for his fight to start, he's been contemplating everything that we've been watching up until that point, basically. This is a very entertaining movie all the way from the beginning to the very end. It's very hard hitting. There's some nice emotional moments. There are some unexpected moments of tragedy in the movie. There's some humorous moments in the film. And honestly, I think it has a little bit of everything. It has a nice little bit of boxing, has a nice little bit of romance, and a great performance by John Garfield. And I highly recommend this film. I think this is a four-star classic, body and soul. This is a movie that I believe can be found on streaming, because I did catch it on streaming not that long ago. But this is one of those movies that, even though it's old, the hard copies are out there. It's that great of a movie, and I just happen to have a Blu-ray copy of it. This is my copy of Body and Soul. That is John Garfield right there. And you can see a little bit of boxing action right there in the low corner there. And yeah, Body and Soul, 1947. A black and white boxing classic that I highly recommend to anyone that enjoys a good drama or a good boxing film. Thank you very much for watching this classic movie review. Those of you that have subscribed and you hang out with me from time to time, I very much appreciate the support and I'm very grateful. And if you're new to this channel and if you're into classic movies, hit that bell and subscribe. You will get notifications for more classic reviews of mine coming your way. And I just very much thank you for hanging out with me. Please don't forget to comment, share, like, and look out for the next one. Take care of each other and peace out. See ya.